All right, welcome to the latest and greatest incredible hoax. I am Chris Hoke.
I am Mark Hoke.
And if you hear a little kid in the background, that would be Jude. And if you hear Finding Nemo in the background, that would be Finding Nemo. We're coming to you from the man cave. So we turn on all the monitors and stuff around the room. It's pretty much like a sports bar in here. Just to give a little background color. A little vibe, like the control room. We're in master control of the Hope Brain Trust.
Yeah, and if you're a Houston Oilers fan, you're like totally missing out on this wall.
Yeah, there's like cool stuff everywhere. It's a man cave. It's definitely a man cave. All right, waste no time. Our subject topic for this episode, I'm calling it the NFL soap opera. Real quick, we began this season with Ray Rice controversy. Then it ended up with Adrian Peterson controversy.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other controversies that were going on that I've already forgotten about by now. And when the season started, I was exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care about football. Now my real life team sucks. Now I really don't care about football. My Tennessee Titans are going nowhere. But anyway, there goes Nemo. The constant barrage of news and media surrounding Ray Rice, Roger Goodell, Adrian Peterson, discipline, all that stuff wore me out. It drove me to the point of exhaustion. Consumer fatigue might be a word to use. If it's not a word, I'll make it up. Consumer fatigue. I literally had broken my desire to engage with football. The ESPN radio, ESPN the net, NFL Network, all of it saturated me to the point where I didn't even care about football. And I almost gave up on this season. I eventually just turned off everything and started watching only the games. And I rebounded, and now I can watch football. Plus, college kind of saved me too, because I find some of the college stuff going on interesting. So, that's my 2 cents. They've oversaturated. There's too much soap opera in this. They need to tone down the off-the-field coverage, in my opinion. They won't. But I think it would be a smart move to tone all that down. Now you take it the rest of the way.
Well, 2 things. One, it has to be said, we don't do political shows. We don't do political commentary.
Sure.
So for those out there getting tense, relax. We're not going to do that. Part of why we're upset about it is precisely because the NFL has been a safe haven.
Sure.
Depending on what your politics are, you could watch football. It was common ground. It was like like in a movie, if it has a universal theme to it, well, and everybody could respond to that and relate to that. Sure. Well, football is one of those things everybody can relate to,
yes.
and it was safe harbor. And now with everything, the over-politicization of everything that's going on the last 20 years.
Sure.
It's just there's like very few safe harbors, and the NFL has been until very recently one of the few places you could go.
You escape social issues.
Okay. Just for at least one day, Sunday, or Saturday for you college fans, you could just sit and watch and just chill, and they're robbing us of that, and it ticks me off,
Yeah.
And it's like there are some bad. On the flip side, I realize there are some bad seeds in the NFL,
sure.
and you obviously got to come down on them.
Yeah.
And you gotta say we really mean it. Knock it off. And I think the NFL was slow. That was really where they got in trouble. They were a little slow to handle the situations, and it kind of was the perfect storm of things that happened, and that's when all the controversy just totally exploded on them. Also, they've been trying for 20 years, as you know, to reach out and expand the audience with females, which is why there's a lot more of what you call the fluff stories in the post-game, or excuse me, the pre-game shows.
Sure.
It's to have more interest, beyond just the guys, because they know the guys are going to watch no matter what.
Right.
Well, the flip side of that is if you kind of make that your strategy to increase your audience, and then you start having these athletes beating up their wives, guess what? You're a victim of your own success. You got so many ladies now that watch; they're appalled by that, and rightly so. Absolutely, absolutely. So, those are kind of just some of my general thoughts when all this brewed up. Like, if they had just been not slow, but a little quicker on realizing they were sitting on a powder keg, got on it.
Yeah.
They could have saved themselves and a lot of trouble. And now that we're kind of into the season, we're really beat down. And a lot of these guys coming out of college this year that you have like these character issues, it's going to be hell the next few years because no fans are not going to want them. They're too toxic.
Yeah, nobody wants Winston or Jameis Winston. Yeah. Nobody wants Jameis Winston.
They're too toxic.
Unless you get him low round. I at this point, as of today, I'd be surprised if anybody takes him higher than third round. Now that's probably going to change between here and draft day, but as of right now, at this exact moment, I'd be shocked if anybody took him higher than third round. But going back to the soap opera aspect of the NFL, the only way now we presented an issue. What's our solution? I'm going to steal my solution from Cowherd. That's probably the only show I'll listen to. Is
Colin Cowherd on ESPN Radio.
On ESPN Radio, it's probably the only sports-centric show I tolerate anymore is his, because he stays pretty fact-based. And I'm stealing his idea. His idea was, instead of Goodell handing down these judgments personally, they should form a penalty committee. And all these suspensions and things like that come from this committee. And that way it's no longer you have a king over this kingdom or a dictator. It's a democratic process. It is more ruled and defined, and you have more than one mind in there considering and laying down judgment. Yeah. And I think it'd be a great step to reduce the controversies and the soap operaness. My personal way to deal with it is what I mentioned earlier. I refuse to watch the crap anymore. I don't watch pregame shows, post-game shows. I don't tune into any of the other extra football stuff because they can't stay football-centric. I find the soap opera stuff exhausting.
Oh, yeah.
It totally fatigues me. I don't have time for it. I just want to watch football games. So I have made a personal choice not to watch them. The only time my TV goes on those shows is before the game comes on. I'll put it on that channel while I'm doing something else. So that way when the game starts, it's already on the channel. And I don't miss kickoff.
Right.
It's the only time it's ever even on. And I'm usually on my computer doing something else, or I'm working on something else, or whatever. Or dealing with the baby, or whatever. So that's the only time. So that's how I've chosen to deal with it. I'll let you have the last word before we get to it.
Yeah. Well, it's frustrating because we love the game. You want to watch, and at the same time, you know that they're the bad apples, and the quandary is, and this is where I'll end on this. The quandary is we realize these players have a short window to make their money.
Sure.
That's why even some of the spousal domestic abuse that goes on, they're willing to look the other way because they know that their significant other has maybe a 3-year window to make $10 million.
Yeah, they gotta get that second contract. They make a living off the second contract.
That second contract, they're set for life, and they know that, so they put up with a lot. And you hate that that's kind of happened in the culture, but hey, that's the buzzer, folks.
We had a lot going on.
Yeah, this is not only a man cave; it's the war room.
Well,
but anyway, they have a short window, and that's what I have in my mind to make the money. And you have to come up with a way to be able to punish those for the really bad crimes. Absolutely, you got to get on it, and you want to be able to work with the colleges to encourage better behavior too. My solution, that's where I'll end. I just would like to see more cooperation between the colleges and NFL to encourage more positive behavior and lifestyles coming out. Because if you get them where they're young, then they'll grow up to be more positive men. And I'll leave it there.
that got real close to a whole nother big old can of worms.
Uh-oh.
All right, 10-minute mark. We've already passed it, so until next time.